What is up? Welcome to the Will Cain Podcast, Episode 2, a podcast that is quickly climbing the charts thanks to you. In our debut episode, we went all the way to number 9 in the news category and number 34 in all of podcasting. That's thanks to you. Please continue to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on Apple, Spotify, or Fox News Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, and tell your friends, come hang out on the Will Cain Podcast. In the coming months, I anticipate we'll be growing, not just our audience, but perhaps our frequency, and certainly our ability to interact with you. As anyone who ever listened to the Will Cain Show knows, I have strong opinions. I don't hide them. I don't pretend to at all times be objective. I want to tell you who I am and what I think. And then I want to open myself up to you to tell me where you think I'm wrong. We'll continue to grow this podcast in all those various ways, but today we're going to grow in content with our 3 big stories. Number 1, from bias to agenda to propaganda. The state of American media in 2021 is one that I believe has rapidly, at a breakneck speed, evolved from simple, unconscious groupthink and bias to absolute lies in the service of propaganda and an agenda. The latest example came to us this past Sunday from CBS's venerated news investigative program, 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes decided to focus on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Now, Ron DeSantis has been celebrated on the right as a governor who did an excellent job of balancing public health and his state's economy, trying to put in place measures to protect his aging population from the coronavirus while also protecting businesses' ability to continue in existence. That has led him, in many circles, to be identified as a potential 2024 Republican nominee for president. On the other side of the spectrum, many on the left and in the mainstream media have targeted Ron DeSantis as a figure for criticism. On Sunday, 60 Minutes aired a segment suggesting that Ron DeSantis had engaged in a pay-for-play scheme. In vaccine distribution in the state of Florida, the accusation is that Ron DeSantis favored the largest grocery chain in that state, Publix, in exchange for approximately $100,000 in campaign contributions. 60 Minutes aired a social media promotional clip of what they would ultimately air on their program. This is what it sounded like to anyone that listened on Sunday night or came across this on their social media feed. Listen.
Publix, as you know, donated $100,000 to your campaign, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to distribute the vaccination in Palm Beach.
So first of all, what you're saying is wrong.
How is that not pay to play?
That's a fake narrative. I met with the county mayor, I met with the administrator, I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents.
But Melissa McKinley, the county commissioner in the Glades, told us the governor never met with her about the Publix deal.
The criticism is that it's pay to play,
it's
Governor.
Wrong. It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts because obviously I laid it out for you in a way that is irrefutable.
Well,
and so it's clearly not.
Isn't there the nearest Publix to the Glades is
you're
30
wrong.
miles
You're wrong.
away?
You're wrong. Yes,
That's
sir.
actually a fact.
That is what aired on 60 Minutes social media feed and their program on Sunday night. Critics of Ron DeSantis said that is simple Trumpian style over substance, suggesting that Ron DeSantis is an acolyte of former President Donald Trump and his tactics of being very aggressive with the media, but not truly refuting the accusation. That's what the critics suggested. But what 60 Minutes didn't tell you is that they cut that question and answer. They edited it, and they cut out exactly Ron DeSantis' explanation to Sharon Alfonsi, the CBS correspondent, back and forth. Now, this cut is a little long, but I think it's important for us to listen to the entire exchange, side by side, what 60 Minutes told you went down and what actually went down. Listen to this.
Publix, as you know, donated $100,000 to your campaign, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to distribute the vaccination in Palm Beach.
So first of all, what you're saying is wrong.
How is that not pay to play?
That's a fake narrative. So first of all, when we did the first pharmacies that had it were CVS and Walgreens, and they had a long-term care mission. So they were going to the long-term care facilities. They got vaccine in the middle of December. They started going to the long-term care facilities the third week of December to do LTCs. So that was their mission. That was very important, and we trusted them to do that. As we got into January, we wanted to expand the distribution points. So yes, you had the counties, you had some drive-through sites, you had hospitals that were doing a lot, but we wanted to get it into communities more. So we reached out to other retail pharmacies, Publix, Walmart. Obviously, CVS and Walgreens had to finish that mission, and we said we're going to use you as soon as you're done with that. For the Publix, they were the first one to raise their hand, say they were ready to go. And you know what? We did it on a trial basis. I had 3 counties. I actually showed up that weekend and talked to seniors across 4 different Publix. How was the experience? Is this good? Should you think this is the way to go? And it was 100% positive, so we expanded it, and then folks liked it. And I can tell you, if you look at a place like Palm Beach County, they were kind of struggling at first in terms of the senior numbers. I met with the county mayor, I met with the administrator, I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. We can do this. They calculated that 90% of their seniors live within a mile and a half of a Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents. So we did that. And what ended up happening was you had 65 Publix in Palm Beach. Palm Beach is one of the biggest counties, one of the most elderly counties. We've done almost 75% of the seniors in Palm Beach, and the reason is because you had the strong retail footprint. So our way has been multifaceted. It has worked, and we're also now very much expanding CVS and Walgreens now that they've completed the long-term care mission. Yes? And it's wrong. It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts because obviously I laid it out for you in a way that is irrefutable, and so it's clearly not. No, you're wrong. Yes, sir.
That is the full press conference exchange between 60 Minutes and Governor Ron DeSantis. What 60 Minutes gave you was fake news. What 60 Minutes gave you was propaganda, not bias, not even agenda-driven, outcome-focused journalism, but propaganda, a flat-out lie. I've been lied about. I have experienced fake news. I have had my clips cut short or start late to paint you in the most unfavorable light possible. But I've never had someone cut out the middle of my answer, to take the beginning and the end, to take the intro and the conclusion, but totally cut out the middle substance of an answer to a question. That is deceptive editing. That is fake news. That is propaganda. How did we get here? Many people, when I meet them in public, ask me how it is I got into media, how I ended up working for ESPN, how I ended up working for Fox News. There are specific career path decisions I can give you that maybe I will at some later date about how I got exactly where I got in my career. But the truth is, what started an entire aspirational dream was a combination of my mom and my dad. My dad was an attorney in small-town Texas, and I can never remember being more proud of him than when I went to visit his office on the town square in Sherman, Texas. I remember I'd go into his office, he'd sit behind his desk, he'd take calls with clients, and I saw someone in their environment, living their life to their fulfillment of being purpose-driven. I also got to, at times, go into the courtroom and watch my dad argue cases, and I sat there in the pews of the courtroom, if you will, just in complete admiration. I love the ability to argue a point, to think through all the different angles and persuasively make your case to someone else. That's why I ended up going to law school after I graduated from college. I wanted to be like my dad. But the other influence in my life was, of course, my mom. Every morning when we got up and got ready for school, we made our way to the breakfast table, pulled out whatever non-sugary cereals we were allowed to eat. My brothers and sister and I would sit there and stare at the back of the cereal box and the stupid mazes or quizzes and sit there and see that the sounds each other make as we slurp our cereal. But the other sound in the breakfast room was the television. Every morning my mom had on the Today Show. Every morning, I watched as Matt Lauer or Katie Couric delivered the news. It was mainstream. It was accepted. I assumed it to be the truth. And I thought, what an amazing platform to do what my dad did, to persuade people, to inform people, to make a case. and to that with millions.
For the full podcast, go to foxnewspodcast.com.